how many times a day should a person poop? Like, what's a normal, like, what is the normal amount that a person should be pooping on a daily basis?
Okay. So I'm going to give you an answer, but I also want to acknowledge that there's different elements to this equation that I want to introduce. Okay. So generally speaking, most of us would poop once a day. And if you are in circadian alignment, pooping is a part of that story. There are things that occur in the morning. And it's, by the way, not just drinking your coffee, right? It is the exposure to sunlight. It is the rise of cortisol that comes with, naturally our cortisol is rising, but when we get outside and you get that morning sunlight, you bump that by 50%. You can increase that by 50%. You tack on some morning exercise. I've now given, by the way, your listeners, the two most powerful circadian levers for a morning routine: outdoor time and exercise of any variety. So if you go light, 25% increase in addition to what you got from the outdoor time. If you go hard, another 50%. So, and then that teaches your body, like basically this is where the day begins. And that cortisol is contributing to the rhythm that ultimately leads to a morning bowel movement where your gut now like basically has a clock, knows what time, and then it happens. The other thing that happens is you activate serotonin. So you activate serotonin, you activate the gut microbes. Max, our gut microbiome, it's on a circadian rhythm. So they've shown over 50% of our species are rising and falling during a 24-hour clock to meet the moment. So as we sit here right now, during the day, they're focused on protein metabolism because that's what we need because we're physically active. But then tonight, we go to bed and they're actually going to flip. Like the microbiome is going to flip. And now its functional output is about recovery, helping you to heal, repairing and restoring the gut barrier overnight, right? Inflammation that actually occurs overnight. All right. So the answer to your question, sorry, I got carried into a circadian rhythm thing.
No, it's I never considered the impact that like getting morning light in through your eyes might play in terms of bowel motility.
Okay, so if I would challenge the listeners of your show, if you step outside for 7 days in a row, all right, and get morning sunlight, or if you're living in a place where like that's not possible, at least get a light box with 10,000 lux. 10,000 lux is what you want. If you do this for 7 days in a row, I promise you, you will feel more energy. You will have better focus. You have more cognitive endurance. Your mood will improve over a couple of days. The energy will be day one. Your mood will improve over a couple of days. And the other thing that will happen is you will sleep like a baby because basically all you did was pull the most powerful circadian tool, the circadian lever that we have to tell your body, I'm time stamping. This is when the day begins right here. So ultimately that does parlay into a morning bowel movement, and our bowel movements shouldn't be scattershot. So even if you go once a day, but your bowel movements are all over the place, you need chronotherapy, right? You need to get your circadian rhythm back into alignment because your body should know when is the time to poop. Now, in theory, if we took our fiber deficient America and we actually got everyone to fiber sufficiency or fiber optimization, people might be pooping 2 or 3 times a day, right? So the once a day, you could actually argue is us accepting something as normal, but it's kind of not. All right. There are going to be some listeners who they poop every other day. And now they're wondering, oh gosh, do I have a problem? If you feel well and you have healthy bowel movements and you when you go, you feel completely empty and satisfied. You could absolutely poop every other day and that's just your rhythm. And that's okay, right? You don't necessarily have a problem. Meanwhile, there are people who poop every single day and they're constipated. And they don't realize it.
Yeah, how does that work?
Okay, so there's a few options here. So first of all, there are people that for me, bathroom time is awesome. right? Like I look forward to that moment. You get that urge, you basically mosey over it into the bathroom, get a good evacuation, and then you strut out of there, right? It's highly satisfying. That's the way it's supposed to be. For people who are suffering with gut issues, that's not their experience, right? It's a struggle. They're straining, they're red in the face, they're white knuckling it, right? And then all of that to get like a little nugget. And they kind of don't feel like they really emptied. And they get up and they go about their day. And then like 45 minutes later, they have to go back and poop again. You didn't poop in the first place. It was a partial, right? There are some people that they go and have these partial poops that they like have to push out. And maybe you had 2 or 3 of them, but actually you're backing up. So that's number one. There are some people that are not completely emptying, and because they're not completely emptying, they're backing up.
Well, should you just follow-up question? Should you stay on the toilet in that case until you get a more complete evacuation? Because some pelvic floor health experts have said, it's not smart to linger on the toilet.
No, you don't want to linger on the toilet because the issue is that when you spend too much time on the toilet, you're actually through gravity naturally pulling blood down into those tissues, which basically increases your risk of hemorrhoids. And then so you're going to take this issue that you have where you're straining to poop, and you're going to compound that with all this blood flow into the hemorrhoid tissues, and you're going to give yourself a hemorrhoid.
Whoa.
So, and we don't need that.
No.
All right.
This is fascinating, by the way.
What should you do? Well, if your poop is hard, you should soften it. And one of the ways that yes, you can drink water, okay? But for a lot of people, drinking like hydration alone is not sufficient. Magnesium can be the way to go. So particularly before bedtime. The key though is like, do you take magnesium?
I do, yeah.
Which one do you take?
I take glycinate, and sometimes I take citrate, which I know has that, what's it called? The water
laxative effect.
Yeah, laxative effect. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So I take glycinate too. Glycinate does nothing for pooping, right? It's fantastic for sleep. Magnesium has many health benefits. Magnesium, by the way, is good for your gut barrier. I actually recommend, in chapter 7 of my book, I recommend magnesium as an evening supplement as a part of my evening stack, okay? But if you want to poop, citrate is one, oxide is my favorite, or magnesium sulfate. So magnesium oxide, magnesium citrate, magnesium sulfate. And you take that before bedtime, and overnight, it helps to pull some water in. And so then if your poop has been hard, we're softening it up, right? So that would be step one. The second thing is we need to get you into a proper pooping position. So the entire concept of a toilet was clearly not informed by the way that we're like supposed to position ourselves to poop. If we were out in nature, we would all do the exact same thing. None of us would try to sit like we're on a toilet. We would all squat, drop a dump, and then like just walk away, right? So that's what we would do. But instead, we're like sitting in an upright position just like this. So the key is that we have to bring our knees above our hips. So that requires us to have something that's at least a couple inches underneath our feet. So if you could have any sort of step, you can get a squatty potty if you like, but if you have any sort of step or box that you can put your feet on just to get your knees above your hips, that basically aligns your rectum, relaxes the pelvic floor muscles, and it makes a more clear channel for you to drop a dump.
Wow. It's man, I love this conversation because it might be taboo to some, but it's so important. And I was recently I was at a resort because I was giving a talk at this like event that occurred at this resort down in San Diego. And you know how sometimes like you sit on a toilet and it's like low to the ground. It feels kind of like an old school toilet, and it just feels good. Like it feels like anatomically aligned.
There you go.
I don't have a better way to put it, but like it's a low old school toilet. And then sometimes you end up on these toilets that are like really high up. And I was at this resort, and like every toilet from the, in the lobby of the hotel to in the conference area to even in my own room, the toilets were super high. And I was not going properly.
Yeah.
I was not going properly. And the whole time I felt bloated. I felt like my digestion was off. It's an anomaly for me. It's not, I mean, my digestion is normally very good.
Yeah.
But it was the height of the toilets for the 3 days that I was at this resort that completely screwed me.
Yeah. So even if your poop is soft, if the pelvic floor is not aligned, then it's difficult to go. Right. So, and there are some health conditions where people, these are actually the people with the worst constipation, like they poop once a week. They have what is called pelvic floor dysnergia, where basically like they think that their bottom is relaxing, but actually it's clamping down. And so it's effectively like, you know, if you had a bathtub filled with water, but you're not opening the drain, it doesn't matter what Drano or anything that you put into the bath water. Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right. You need to open the drain. Right. So for these people, that can be an issue. And it sounds like for you, like that bloating that you experienced, that's classic. That's classic constipation. Like when you back up, you're going to get bloated.
Felt awful. And conversely, what's fascinating is that when you're on like a low to the ground toilet, I feel like the odds are, people are learning a lot about my bowels on this episode of the show, but you feel a lot, the odds are a lot higher that you're going to get the holy grail of the wiping experience, which I would describe, or which many people have colloquially termed, the ghost wipe.
Oh,
it's a lot more
glorious.
It's glorious. It's a lot more the norm when you're on an anatomically correct low to the ground toilet.
Yeah.
Would you say that a ghost wipe in a way is an indicator of good gut health?
Well, it's hard for me. That's a great, I haven't had this question before. I can't say for sure that is, but I do think that when you get your rectum, so the issue is that when we're walking around, our rectum is like almost folded over. And when you get yourself into that deep squat, it becomes straight. And so then now you're creating this like straight shot down the luge, right? And then the ghost wipe, like that's probably the product of being in a proper pooping position in that setting.
Is there anything better than a ghost wipe? I mean, it's one of the best. You feel. I mean, with a ghost wipe, there is this sense that you're doing things right.
So,
because conversely, we've all had that experience where there's seemingly no end in sight, you know, to the wiping, and you just have to at a certain point like cut your losses and
well, this is why everyone needs a bidet.
You've got a shower nearby, you know.
This is why everyone needs a bidet. Like the bidet is the most. First of all, we got one during the pandemic.
Dude, I cannot live without a bidet.
Oh, it's so great.
Yeah, I have. I definitely I have multiple bidets, and people can buy cheap. There's a company called Tushy. There's you can buy cheap bidet like toilet attachments.
Yeah. Well, even the ones that are more expensive, they're not that expensive,
and they're worth it.
And they're worth it for sure.
I have a bidet in my bathroom that costs as much as I used to pay in rent in Los Angeles.
What?
But it was the only, because I rent in my house, and it's like this, like they have this high-end toilet, I guess. It wouldn't take one of the cheaper attachments, so I had to buy their proprietary bidet, which cost an arm and a leg, but it's got a heated seat and heated water. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, so look, the truth is that a good bowel movement is supposed to be like blissful. For sure. And you can debate what's better, that or a good meal or sex, right? I mean, I think it's in the equation there. Like it's like a good, healthy bowel movement is highly satisfying.
Yeah, you know, when they I learned this recently. I think this is true, that when people bet on horses, like at the equestrian horse races, when they trot the horses out beforehand, if a horse poops, that's the horse that you bet on.
Oh, yeah. Lost some weight.
It's like good luck.
Yeah,
because
that's interesting.
Because you know that the horse is feeling good.
I grew up in Saratoga, New York, where they have the horse racing track. Have you ever been there?
No.
Oh, man. It's actually really fun. If you're ever in upstate New York, go to Saratoga in the summertime, like August. It's really fun. Yeah, that's very interesting. But to your question of can you look at a person's poop and tell what's going on with their gut microbiome? 100% yes. 100% yes. We know that the form actually tells us about what's happening with the microbes. So as you drift away, so a healthy bowel movement is soft, formed, sausage-shaped, right? That's the way it's supposed to be. And if we start to drift towards constipation, it's getting hard, it's getting cracky, bumpy, and then eventually it's like a hard rabbit pellet, right? That entire transition is associated with specific changes to the gut microbiome. And on the flip side, if you start to drift towards diarrhea, where it's getting loose, and then ultimately it's a plop, and then water, those two, right? So basically, like if you want gut testing, you could do that, but you could also just look in your toilet bowl, and it kind of gives you quite a bit of insight. Like to me, the combination of like, what does your bowel movement look like? How do you feel? That tells me a lot.
Hey, if you liked that video, you need to check out this one here, and I'll see you there.